tonight we're doing some leg stuff, some balance. We're going to work up to dancer pose. If you're new, you haven't done dancer pose before, then there's a fairly easy version of it. If you've done dancer pose quite a lot, then you might want to take the more advanced version. And if you're not super flexible, you might want to grab a strap for that. But if you are super flexible or you're not that comfortable with dancer pose, you're not going to need any props tonight. If you do have a wall, that might be handy, because it'd be nice if we could do some legs up a wall. But if you don't have a wall near you, totally fine. I'll give you some options there as well. With there being a couple of balance poses today, maybe just spend a minute looking around you, seeing what you might fall into if you fall out of the balance, and make sure that there isn't just like a bed of nails lying around your yoga mat. I'm sure none of you have that, but it's probably worth double checking. And yeah, just take it easy. Do what you feel comfortable with and have fun. So we'll start in a seated position, and we'll just start with a little bit of nice and easy breathing. So whatever seat you feel comfortable in, I'm going to go cross legs, and we'll sit up nice and tall. We'll raise the shoulders up to the ear, roll them down the back, and then we'll just take some nice steady breaths in and out through the nose, breathing in and out, and in and out, in and out. And we'll just go through a couple of rounds of this in our own time. We'll spend some time warming up to get ready for some of the more energetic poses today. I'm super sore from a couple of runs I've done recently, so I'm not going to be pushing too hard. So we'll spend plenty of time in the warm-up, and if I end up bailing out of any poses, you might find you go further than me depending on how this soreness kicks in. Make this your last breath, and then just breathe normally, not your last breath ever. And when you're done, we'll come and we're going to start similar to how we did last week. We're going to start in hero pose. So we're going to come and sit on our heels. And if you need to stick a cushion anywhere just to get comfortable, because it can be quite intense on the ankles, then feel free. And from here, and spin around so you can see me from the front. We're going to raise the arms up, and then we're going to come down for a twist. So you can take the hand to your lower back maybe, or you can take it down to the feet if you've got space. Bring the opposite hand to opposite knee, and then you can twist your neck whichever way you want. And then we'll come back to centre, and we'll take that on the other side. So we'll inhale up, and we'll come down to find that twist on the other side. Again, keeping that nice steady breathing. And we'll come back to centre, and then we'll inhale the arms up again, and we'll lean over to our right, finding that nice stretch down the left side of the body, and then we'll come back to centre, And we'll take it over to our left, finding that stretch on the right side. And again, we'll come back to centre, let the arms come down, have a little shake out, and we'll come into a tabletop position, finding those wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And from here, just have a little wriggle around. It's internet yoga, no one's watching you. Close your eyes and just move however feels good, makes get those muscles activated and stretched a little, and just put some movement into the body. When you've had a little wriggle, we're going to come into upward dog. So our legs are going to stay out long, resting on our hands. You could keep the thighs off the floor if you wanted, but it's a bit intense. We are just getting started and we're just warming up here. We just want to start stretching out the back, shoulders nice and early. And then we'll come all the way back. And we'll take a quick child's pose. And then wriggle forward on your mat a little bit. And we're still in hero pose. And we're going to come back down behind us slightly to come into reclined hero. And we'll come back up to hero pose. And we'll just take some nice big arm circles, inhaling the arms up, exhaling to bring them back around behind us. We'll take a couple of rounds of this. Make this your last one. And then we'll come into cow face. So bring your arm back behind you. If you've got the flexibility, you can bring that other arm around to meet it. If not, then just grab the elbow and pull that down. I can just about meet it on this side, but I'm going to do this because I know I don't have space on the other side and I want everything to stay symmetrical. And then we'll release our arms and we'll go on to the other side with that. So again, you can take your arm around the back or over the top, but I'd recommend doing what you did on the first side. And then bring the arms back down. And we're going to do a few seated ab crunches. So really squeezing into those abdominal muscles. So we'll inhale and contract. And we'll just hold them here for a few seconds. And then we'll release as we breathe out. And again, inhale to contract those abs. And exhale to release them. And we're going to inhale to contract them again, but try and keep them contracted as you breathe in and out. I find that the rest of my body, particularly my upper body, really tenses up when I try and breathe and keep the abs contracted. It's a difficult one. And let them release. And then from here, in our hero pose, we'll push back and find our down dog. So just spend a minute here finding that nice inverted V shape. Letting the armpits fall down towards the floor.
once you've got the top half of your body sorted, you can gently push the heels down towards the ground, maybe pedal out the feet slightly. And then we'll walk up to the top of our mat and come to stand in Tadasana, mountain pose. So again, finding that length, rolling the shoulders up and down the back. And then we're gonna continue the warm up with some sun salutations. We're gonna mix it up this week and do some Surya Namaskar B. So we'll inhale the arms up, looking up at the palms as they meet above us overhead, and then exhale to come all the way down into a nice forward fold. And from here we're going to plant the hands and step the right leg back. So we're now in our high lunge position, and then keep the hands planted as we step the other foot back and find our plank. Nice strong line through the body, finding that doming of the shoulders. And we'll drop our knees, untuck the toes and lower all the way down. Take an inhale to push up into our back bend, our cobra. As we look up, if that feels comfortable, and then exhale to lower back down. Take an inhale breath as we tuck the toes, and exhale, pushing back into our down dog. From here, we'll step the right foot between the hands. So we found our high lunge again. And then we'll step the left foot up to meet it. So we're in our forward fold. And we'll inhale the arms up. And exhale them down to heart center. And we'll run through that a couple more times just to get a bit more heat into the body. So we'll inhale, palms meet overhead. Exhale to come down into our forward fold. Plant the hands, step the right foot back, find your high lunge. Step the left foot back to meet it. Lower all the way down, you can drop the knees first, or you can come down in one straight line through Chaturanga. We'll push up into our cobra, and then we'll tuck the toes and push back into our down dog. We'll step the right foot up between the hands, find that high lunge, and we'll step the left foot up to meet it, to come into our forward fold, and then we'll inhale the arms up and down to heart center. I wear this hoodie every week, and my hood doesn't normally fall into my face. Interesting. One more time, inhale the arms up, and we'll exhale to come down to that nice forward fold. This time we're going to step the left foot back as we plant the hands, finding that high lunge again. Step the right foot back to meet it, find your plank, lower down, dropping the knees first or without. Find the ground, inhale into that back bend, that cobra, and again tuck the toes, push back into your down dog, and then we'll step that left foot up between the hands, find our high lunge. We'll step the right foot up to meet it, and we find ourselves in our forward fold. Inhale the arms up, and exhale down to heart center. Hopefully you're feeling a bit warmer now. I'm going to de-layer. And then we'll come back straight to our down dog. However you want to get there is fine. And then we're going to take that right foot and step it between the hands. Find our high lunge. And then we'll windmill the arms up and find our warrior two. So pressing into the feet,
Nice bend in that front leg, straight back leg, fingers pointing out ahead of us. And then we'll flip that front palm and reverse our warrior. Come back, find our warrior two again. And then we'll step that left foot up to meet the front foot. And from here we'll come into our tree pose. So you can put it up here on the thigh, you can put it down here on the calf, you can put it down here on the ankle, whatever works for you. I'm going to put it into the thigh and just bring my hands to heart center. You can tree them for an extra challenge. And just find a point to gaze at, find your drishti. And then from here, we're going to grab hold of that leg and we're going to bring it through into a quad stretch. So you should feel a stretch down here as you push the hips forward and pull the leg back. And then we'll plant that foot down on the mat and we'll come down into our forward fold. And then we'll step back to down dog. And then we'll run through that on the other side. So we'll take the left leg, plant it between the hands, find your high lunge, and then we're going to windmill the arms up. So we're finding our warrior two on the other side, pressing into the outside of that back foot. Flip the front palm, reverse your warrior. And then we'll come back, we'll find our warrior two. And then we'll step that foot up again to meet the other foot. And we'll come into our tree on the other side. And we'll just take a couple of breaths in tree. And then we'll grab hold of that foot again. We'll take it back into a quad stretch. We push the hips forward, the legs comes back, and we start feeling that stretch all down the front of the leg we're holding onto. And then we'll plant the foot back down, come to stand at the top of our mat, and we'll inhale the arms up, palms meet overhead, and then come down into a nice deep forward fold. You can bend the knees, bring that chest down towards the thighs. That's what we're aiming for with the forward bend. And then from here, we'll inhale to lift halfway, find that flat back, look forward, and exhale to come back down into your fold. From here, we'll step back, find our plank position, and then we'll lower all the way down. And instead of coming into cobra here, I want you to grab your ankles and we'll take a bow pose. So same idea, we're back bending, but we're gently pulling on the tops of our feet as we raise our gaze, raise the thighs off the mat. Then come back down to the mat, plant the hands and push back into your down dog. So we're going to run through all of that again with some additions. So we'll take the right foot, step it between the hands, we're in our high lunge, and then we'll come up to find our warrior two. From here we'll flip the front palm, reverse our warrior, find that nice side stretch, especially down the front side of our body. We'll come back to our warrior two, and then we'll straighten out that front leg. We'll bring the hands down, floating forward
and then down, trying to open the heart up to the sky in triangle. And we'll come back up, keeping the legs straight and moving the back foot so the toes are back in line and a bit closer to that front leg. And then we'll gently bend forward over that front leg, finding our intense side stretch. Bring yourself back up and turn the toes in a little, so we're facing the long edge of the mat, plenty of space between us. Inhale the arms up and come down into a wide legged forward fold this time. And then from here we'll turn the toes outwards slightly, keep that nice wide stance. And then we'll come up and find our goddess pose. So sitting back, trying to avoid the knees caving in. You might need to turn the toes out a bit more if you find they are caving in. You can bring the hands to heart center, or you can bring them out. Ooh, can feel that burn. And then we'll come back down, find our forward fold again. And then we'll spin the toes so they're facing the back of the mat now. We find our high lunge, or you can just swap round, but your left leg should be forward this time. And then from here, we'll spin the arms up again, and we're finding our warrior two on the opposite side. And then we'll flip that front palm. And again, we'll reverse our warrior, finding that nice side stretch. We'll come back to warrior two. And keep those arms level. Straighten into that front leg. And then again, we'll float forward over the front leg, come down into our triangle pose as our hand meets our shin, or maybe the floor if you've got space. And we try to turn our heart up to the sky, and you get that nice opening. And then again, we'll come back up, keeping our legs straight, turning our toes so they all point the same way, and then folding over that front leg with both legs straight in an intense side stretch. Now from here we'll come back up, we'll turn those toes, nice wide stance, turn the toes in again, and we'll just melt down to a nice easy forward fold. And then we'll turn the feet towards the front of the mat, so we're back in our high lunge. We'll bring the hands down and we'll push ourselves back into our down dog. We'll drop our knees and tuck the toes and come up, so we've got a nice 90-degree bend in our knees. And then we'll come into our camel, our back bend, so reaching down towards the ankles. Maybe you make it, maybe you don't. I don't make it in camel. Just as far as you're comfortable. Don't make it too intense. And then we'll come back up. And we'll keep that nice 90-degree bend in the knees, but we'll send our arms forward for an extended puppy. Try and bring the forehead down to the mat. Allow those shoulders to open up. And then from here, we'll bring the hands back in. We'll come up through tabletop, tuck the toes, And we'll push back and find ourselves in our down dog once more. You can stay here, or you can take your right leg into the sky for three-legged dog. Doesn't matter how high you get that back leg, just keep the hips pointing the ground. And then we'll step that right leg up between the hands and spin round so you can see this a bit easier. And then from here, we'll bring our palms together and we'll hook it around that leg in a revolved lunge. And we'll just hold for a couple of breaths here. Gets intense quick, this one. And then we'll release those arms down. And we're going to come into our front split. So send that front leg out. Just gently walking out longer. Send the back leg behind you. Doesn't matter how deep you get. I'm miles off the floor. Ooh. And then we'll roll forward, taking the weight into that front leg and bringing our left leg up. You can grab the knee. If you're more flexible, you could also grab the toe and send the leg out long. But I'm just going to take the knee and we'll take it out to the side. This is a killer when you've got sore glutes. But we'll keep breathing and we'll keep smiling. And then we'll bring that foot back down, find ourselves at the top of our mat, and we'll inhale the arms up. Exhale to come down into a nice fold. And then from here, we're going to come up into chair pose. So bring the arms up as you sit the hips back, trying to keep the chest pointed up. 3 breaths here. Keep breathing. And then we'll come back down into that forward fold. And we'll step back into our down dog. So let's take that on the other side. Let's send that left leg into the sky if you wish, or you can stay in your down dog. And then we'll step it up between the hands to find our high lunge. And we'll bring the palms together and we'll rotate over that front leg to find our revolved lunge. And then from here, we'll wiggle that front leg forward and that back leg back as we try and find our front split. Nice deep breaths. And then again, we'll roll forward, taking the weight into that front foot and bring this time the right leg up, grabbing the toe, grabbing the knee, taking it out to the side, or as far as your sore glute will allow you to take it. And then we'll come back down to stand at the top of our mat. And again, we'll inhale the arms up. Exhale to come down into that fold. Inhale to lift halfway. Find that flat back, look forward. Exhale to come back down into the fold. And then we'll step back. We'll find our plank position. And from here, we'll lower all the way down. Untuck the toes. Inhale to look up as we come into our back bend. And then exhale to tuck the toes. Push back into down dog. And then we'll take the take the knees nice and wide as we bring them down to the mat. We'll come back to sit on our heels in child's pose. And we'll take a couple of breaths in child's pose before we move on. When you're ready, make your way back up to down dog. And then we'll step that right foot up between the hands again. And from here, we're coming into dancer. So there's a couple of options here. The easiest one, the one I would recommend, is just take that left hand behind you, grab the front foot, and then gently bend forward as that leg comes up. And if you can, send the opposite hand out in front of you. The other way to do it, if you have space, is to take the arm behind you and grab the foot. If you don't have space but you do want extra challenge, you can use a belt, and you can just grab that foot with the belt and then take it round that way. I'm just going to do the normal flexible person way. There's no rush here. We'll talk about why dancer is a great pose when we're doing some stretching. Try and look forward. If you're struggling with your balance, you can find a point to gaze at, and that will help you maintain your balance. Drop out of it anytime you need a quick break. I'm going to go for one more, and then we'll have a little break. We'll be done on the right side. Okay, let's come down to stand again at the front of our mat. We'll inhale the arms up, palms meet overhead, and then we'll come all the way down into a fold. Inhale to lift halfway, looking forward, and then exhaling back down into that fold. Step back, find that nice long plank, and then lower all the way down. Push up into our cobra, and then we'll tuck the toes, push all the way back into our down dog. And then we'll go through that again on the other side. So we'll take that left leg up out in front of us, and from here we'll come up and we'll find our dancer pose on the left leg as the base. So again, you can take it just grabbing the foot. You can try and take the hand overhead if you want. Find that bend forward first, and then if that's going well, you can send the opposite arm out front. Doesn't matter if you drop out of it, doesn't matter if you need a break. We'll be here for 20-30 seconds. There's no rush. Going to go for one more round, and then we'll move on. Okay, nice work everyone.
we'll come to stand anywhere on your mat, and we'll just come down into our halfway lift straight away. Quite a nice one for stretching out the backs of the legs and the glutes after dancer. So find somewhere that's comfortable, because we'll be here for a couple of breaths. And then from here, we'll take our legs nice and wide, and we'll come down into our squat, into our Malasana. So take your feet as wide as you need. I must be feeling warmed up today, because my heels are nearly on the ground. And then from here, we'll plant the hands and we'll find our tabletop position, and we'll come into some nice stretches. So we'll take that right leg and we'll step it outside of the hands. Might be easier from this way. You can lift that back knee if you want, but I wouldn't recommend it, because we're going to be here for a while. So just try and get that front leg nice far forward, and then just sink down into your hips. And then from here, we're going to take that leg all the way out behind us, pushing the heel back into a nice calf stretch. And then we'll take the leg and we'll cross it in front of the other leg, and we'll come down to find our pigeon. Leg doesn't need to be straight on, but again, once you've found a position that you're comfortable with, just sink down into the hips. Maybe stick a pillow under your bottom if that makes it more comfortable. Quite like dancer pose. I think it's an underrated pose. It's got that nice shoulder opener for the swimming. It's got that leg strength to help with the run, and it's got that balance aspect to help with cycling. If there ever was a pose for triathlon, I think dance has got to be in the mix there. And as a bonus, it could also get you on Strictly, which I understand is desirable to many people. Ooh, okay, let's come back and find our tabletop. And then from here, we'll take the opposite leg, probably the left leg, and step it out outside of the hands. Wiggle it forward as much as you feel comfortable with, and then just sink down into the hips for lizard on this side. One thing I like about yoga is a lot of times, if you're hurting, if you're sore and you go do some exercise, you often come out feeling worse, and it just exacerbates the problem. But I find yoga a lot of the time, often come out feeling better. Let's take the leg behind us And take that calf stretch. So plant the toes, push the heel down towards the ground. And then we'll fold that leg in front of the other leg. And we'll sink down into our pigeon pose on the other side. Ooh. Feel those glutes getting longer as we speak. And then take that leg back. And we're not quite at Shavasana yet, but it's a pretty relaxed final few minutes. So if you do want to stick any additional layers on today, I think we'll put them on a little bit earlier than normal. And a couple of options here. If you've got a wall is super helpful because you can squidge your bum up to the wall and just take your legs into the air. But really any way that gets your legs elevated would be good here. So if you've got a bed or a sofa but you haven't got a wall, you just stick them on there and leave them bent. That would be totally fine as well. And if you haven't got anything, you're in the middle of nowhere, you could just pull the knees in. That would work as well. I'm going to go back to the wall. Whatever's working for you today. And just find a nice relaxed upper body as we give the legs a rest. Focus on that breathing through your nose. Nice steady breaths. And if you've moved off your mat, come back towards it. And we'll stay lying on our backs. And we'll pull the knees in. And then we'll let them flop over to whichever side you want as you send the arms out in cactus or in T, trying to keep the shoulders on the ground as you find that nice twist. And then we'll roll back to center. Give those knees a quick squeeze, and then we'll let them come down to the other side. And again, we'll come back to center. We'll hug those knees in, maybe have a little roll around, give that lower back a nice massage. And then we'll set up for our Shavasana. So sending the legs out, nice and long, nice and wide. Bringing the hands down by the side, or the belly if you prefer. And then gently closing the eyes. And just begin releasing all of the tension from your body. Starting with the head, the forehead, the cheeks, the jaw. So easy to hold tension in these places. Just take a moment to let it all go, to let everything melt into the floor. Allow your shoulders and your neck to free up. Your arms, find the natural, comfortable position for your hands. Allow your pelvis to sink down. The legs and the feet flop wherever they flop. And then bring your attention to your breath. Steady breathing. Don't need to do anything special. Just notice it. The air moving in and out. Your chest rising and contracting as you breathe in and out. And if thoughts come and go and pop into your head, that's fine. That's just what human minds do. That's just what thoughts do. But we can choose, or we can try to give them emotional energy or not give them emotional energy. And if we want to remove some of that stress in our lives, we can strive to not give them that energy. And to say, you know what, I've already worried about this. No magical information has suddenly appeared in the middle of this yoga class. So I'm not going to give you any more time. Like an angry toddler that wants attention, it'll get bored pretty quickly. It's very easy in life to imagine that we're not enough, that we just need to achieve that next thing, get that next qualification, hit that next PB, shed that next kilo. But none of it's true. Whoever we are, we're enough. And if we want to strive for more, then great. But we don't need those things to make us complete. Bring our attention back to our body, back to the floor underneath us. And we'll start introducing a little bit of movement, wiggling the toes, moving the fingers, moving the wrists, and moving the arms and the legs. Taking the hands overhead if you've got space. Bringing the legs together for a nice long pencil stretch.
And then with the eyes still closed, or with them open, make your way up to a seated position.
Any seated position is fine here. Sit up nice and tall, roll the shoulders up and down the back, finding length in the spine. And then bring your hands to heart center. Drop your chin down. Namaste. Thank you for coming to practice tonight, and I hope you enjoyed the class.